Let those who have stolen our commonwealth return the loot. We want to develop this country.
When we hear domestic violence, we think of a woman being beaten by her husband or a man being stabbed by his wife.
Find our kinsmen. Mr. President, His Excellency, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, to our cries. Because the people so disempowered have offsprings. The offsprings that are coming after them are born into that disempowerment.
You cannot have a governor that was useless for 8 years go to the Senate because they have INEC in their hands. We must gather.
Many half men today, they have become half, not because they would rather be so, but because poverty has been decreed upon them by the state.
I first of all check my shoe.
Middleman. Hello and welcome to the Middlemen. I am Nasir El-Rufai, and with me today on the show are Juror Evans Ofeli, who will be seeking the return of abductees from Etualand in Ndokwa West local government area of Delta State, and Juror Olajumoke Alawade James, who will be asking if the Naira will appreciate soon. I will be talking about the El-Rufai investigation that just got underway in Kaduna State. But all of that will be in just a moment. Stay with us. Middleman. Yeah, welcome back to the Middleman. My case today is probing El-Rufai. Former Governor Nasir El-Rufai of Kaduna State may no longer be in office, but he is still very much in circulation, if you know what I mean. Now, we're told he may have questions to answer as the Kaduna State House of Assembly is set to probe his tenure as governor in light of the state's huge debt profile. You know, an adult committee of lawmakers will investigate all financial transactions, loans, grants, and project executions by the state government from 2015 to 2023. That was about the time he was a steward. From everything we've had, the state's debt profile includes $587 million, 85 billion naira, and 115 billion naira worth of contractual liabilities left behind by the administration of former Governor Nasir El-Rufai. The House has asked the committee to summon prominent figures, including former speakers of the 8th and 9th Assemblies, commissioners of finance, former managing directors of Kaduna MDAs, senior councillor Jimmy Lawal, and former commissioners of budget and planning to appear before it. Those summoned are expected to shed light on crucial details that could facilitate the recovery of funds earmarked for projects that were not completed. Now, we know the former governor not to be a fearful man. He lost his bid to become a minister, but he made choices. For example, hobnobbing with the SDP and even visiting the office twice. Then, again, the next thing we saw him do, he seemed to take on the federal government by revealing that the federal government had restored subsidy payments on petrol, even though not many know about it. As a matter of fact, only today, the federal government has come out to say that the comments being attributed to El-Rufai were unsavory and inappropriate. Here's my verdict. A probe of the former governor is not out of place. But is this not politics? I admonish that it should not be for politics. That's my case.
El-Rufai is one very active first-class graduate in, I think, quantity survey.
Yeah.
He has been in the media for so long, from being the FCT minister to being a governor of Kaduna State and all that. He's attributed to have, at some point, paid bandits not to attack, rather than creating the strategy to exterminate them. Before now, El-Rufai is not known or it's not notorious in the issues of corruption. It's not notorious. What I mean, you understand what I mean?
Yes.
People who have held the position of the FCT minister, we've seen how they've been and all that.
And they didn't probe him after.
Yes, so he's one man that disciplined in a way, not too loved by the public. But here we are, he's still worshipped as a governor.
He's under question.
Yes, it's under question. And to see that the State House of Assembly, I don't know where they got all that from, that they are now probing his stewardship and all that. I want to commend the State House of Assembly of Kaduna State. Not many state of assemblies can even do that. Many lawmakers, parliamentarians at the state level go to ex-governors to get anointed, to return, or to secure their place. But here is a State House of Assembly that is oversighting an ex-governor. Okay, I want to believe that it is two things. It's either they have a mind of their own, or they are being controlled by other forces, or by the government in power. Because it's not commonplace in our country. So this is like one way I will commend them halfway until I find out whether they are being engineered or they took it upon themselves as for the love of the state.
5 things on this case. 1, El-Rufai was the FCT minister that we loved to hate. Those of us outside of the FCT loved him because he came up with the Abuja master plan, cleaning up Abuja.
We're designing it.
And saying, no, you cannot build here. You cannot, he was known for bringing down all sorts of houses just to hold the Abuja master plan,
design.
Or hold it salient, or just make it clean the way it ought to be. Now, because this 9th assembly is going to be calling people from the 8th assembly, I would agree with you that because state houses of assemblies are usually rubber stamps, how did the 8th assembly allow El-Rufai with a state without crude oil? Because that's our major foreign exchange earner, go to that extent, pretty much like my state, Oshu State. You say, oh, you want to do a pombo, you want to do this, and put the state in there.
There are states going more than this.
Yes, now. Well, but I'm saying, third one, if you compare Kaduna to Anambra State under Peter Obi, they will say, oh, he left 75 billion that we used to build, unlike the El-Rufai that we love to.
The Okpamo was a utopian arrangement. Too much knowledge in the head.
Number 4, El-Rufai's son Bello is in the 9th State House of Assembly in Kaduna.
Yes.
And once they mentioned this probe, he started saying untoward things to the politicians there. And people have started questioning his parentage. That how did they teach you at home to the extent that you're throwing up so much tantrums? Because they want to question your father. The 5th one for me is that regardless of who governor is, right? That somebody is doing it externally, they are being their puppet masters who are pulling the strings or whatever.
No, that's possible. That is a possibility.
Whatever, if that is the case or not, it is the right thing that everybody is held accountable. Now, our constitution says because we do not want them distracted, governors and the president have immunity while they're in government.
Governors and vice president.
And vice president also. They have immunity while they are in government. But once they come out, just to prevent governors using immunity, right?
As a shield
to do all sorts of untoward things. Once they come outside, pretty much like what's happening to Yaya Bello of Kogi State, that his successor is now shielding him, they ought to be probed. Sir, what did you use 85 billion for? Why are we indebted to the point of $850 million? Come and tell us. Explain us. And if if his hands are clean, then we'll say thumbs up to the State House of Assembly that has done the probe. Thumbs up to him for doing the right thing with the monies and being able to account for it.
Some of the funds have been attributed to contractual liabilities and all that. So
the easiest way to steal money is to be doing projects.
Yeah, when you have enough projects, that's why you can get kickback.
Yes, now and then again, I think the catchment point for me are 2. The Speaker of the 9th Assembly, we've overheard him saying that he did not give approval for the loan for some of those loans to be obtained. So if the governor
went outside of the law
to now become a dictator
Please hold his chocolate.
over and above the lawmakers to obtain loans, then that's a problem. One.
Yes.
Number two, I would think that anybody El-Rufai would have allowed or agreed with to succeed him. In the case of Senator Ubasani, would have been a friend. For one is the fact that as a senator, you can't take foreign loans from as a governor without the senators from the endorsing.
Yes.
So which means Ubasani can't say he was not aware when this was happening. That's one. Number two is the fact again that the governor and El-Rufai are close because the son who is the member of the House of Reps, Bello, said that Bashir is the one that's making noise in Kaduna. Bello said that Ubasani is his mentor and El-Rufai is his father, and so he didn't want to take sides in what was going on. But my real fear is that the people who want to nail El-Rufai are already aware that there's a lacuna in those dealings. Because El-Rufai was the president's friend, president's man. He didn't want to be, but he was brought in to help the president become president.
To achieve nothing.
After we,
yes.
They now skilled him out of El-Rufai
no, but he told us we're going back to school now. And the president said, don't go anywhere, we need you.
This Mr. El-Rufai was a sworn enemy of Mr. President. He even came to Lagos and said, I've come to teach you how to defeat your godfathers and so on. You recall?
Yes.
But the president had to go back and say, please help me. And El-Rufai was pivotal to him becoming president.
In the north?
Yes, of course.
Because he didn't have a say down here.
Office. Somehow, El-Rufai was too late to become minister.
And because they know that he doesn't love him from the depth of his heart.
Just on the other side of the coin, having not become minister, there's something that El-Rufai does very well. He can talk your government into trouble.
Yes.
So it was on Monday.
Propaganda.
Jesus, it was on Monday.
That he told us that the government has spent more.
The cabal of Yaradua.
Yes.
There was no cabal. It was El-Rufai's mouth that created the cabal. That cabal was El-Rufai's mouth.
Are you sure?
He said by himself.
He
said it himself.
No, but Yaradua's wife was a cabal on her own.
He said there was no cabal that they planted it.
But Yaradua's wife was a cabal on her own. Now. We remember.
If you read the accidental civil servant, that book, if you go through El-Rufai's book, you will see how El-Rufai uses propaganda to taint everybody except himself.
And he's very good at it. Now see I'm going.
Except himself.
It was on Monday. He went to deliver election in Kaduna in Maiduguri to say that government has, so many people have been saying it. Even me have been saying that government is paying subsidy.
Even me, I say it.
We've been saying it.
All of us say it.
The IMF said it.
Yes.
The company chief said it. Nobody said anything. As soon as El-Rufai spoke, the following day, from nowhere, the House of Assembly met, agreed to probe him, formed the committee to probe him. They knew what they said they were not probing for. Everything happened in one day.
Siri, let them probe themselves. We don't care.
Like saying that
we will enjoy it.
So, but you know that there is a tendency.
Let him expose them.
There is a tendency. Hold on. There is a tendency that probe itself may not even survive the test of time. I say, what I mean is, the House of Assembly probing El-Rufai, to me, doesn't even look like what will survive. What will survive because El-Rufai seems to be very tactical. Okay, and to say a state House of Assembly they are doing all this by their own volition will not be.
It's an unimaginable thing.
Yes, an unimaginable thing.
Yes,
I do not believe that those people are doing that because of the love of state.
Let them just
I don't think so.
themselves.
So that's why we're now where we are. I don't know how what follows next, but clearly there's a puppet behind the game.
Let them go ahead.
Well, that's about it for the Kaduna story. But when we come back, Juror Evans Ofeli will be calling for the return of the abducted people from Etualand in Ndokwa West local government area of Delta State. That's in a bit. Stay with us.
Middleman. Welcome back. You are still watching the Middlemen on Enterprise TV. My case. In Chinua Achebe's things fall apart, he said, a man who called his kinsmen to a feast does not do so to save them from starving. They all have food in their own homes. When we gather together in the Moonlight Village ground, it is not because of the moon. Every man can see it in his own compound. We come together because it is good for kinsmen to do so. find our kinsmen. It has been almost 2 years since our kinsmen were abducted by men of the Nigerian police. Etua has lived in excruciating pain following the unfortunate incident. We have called out the Nigerian government, the Nigerian police force, and the leaders of our community to address this ugly trend, but to no avail. Find our kinsmen. So we bleed in our thoughts each time we remember them. We bleed because the fundamental rights to life and movement of our people have been denied them. We have lost faith in the fact that no one, whether in or out of government, has brought us words about the whereabouts of our people. So I say again, find our kinsmen. Mr. President, His Excellency, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, Etua cries, we, the peace-loving people of Etualand West Local Government Area of Delta State, cry because our people are innocent of all the crimes committed against this nation. We don't bear arms. We are not a party to any secessionist group in Nigeria. We are not bandits or terrorists. We are peace-loving people devoted to our passion and our allegiance is to Nigeria. Yet, we are invaded by the Nigerian police, arrested, killed, and traumatized. The brutal oppression is simply a crime of aggression, disregard, disrespect, and we hold this truth to be self-evident that justice shall find us someday. Find our kinsmen. The governor of Delta State, the Sheriff Oborowori, Etua is under your jurisdiction. Our indigents have been in captivity since May 2022. They were abducted by the Nigerian police on the 22nd day of May 2022. Until today, they are still missing. Mr. Governor, the indigents of Etua voted for you to clinch power as the governor of Delta State. They have been steadfast and have supported you all year round. It is expected that at least they get adequate security in exchange for their love and passion for you. Find our kinsmen, sir. Get involved in this case. Find our kinsmen. We are losing sleep over this case, and no man or woman of Etua extraction is happy over our misfortune. Find our kinsmen. My verdict. The police must produce our kinsmen as was the verdict of the Court of Appeal in this case. We invoke the God of creation. We come before the throne of the Almighty in petition, and we decree the release of our kinsmen who were whisked away by the Nigerian police, so that they may find comfort and rest wherever they are. We pray. We pray for their families, for the courage to stand these trying times, and the faith to persevere be upon them. Find our kinsmen. I shall go to Rabbi again.
Two things. I hope that these citizens of Etua, of Ndokwa, West Local Government Area of Delta State are still alive. Because, I mean, if people have been abducted for whatever reason since May 2022, is almost a year. In another month, we'll be celebrating the first anniversary of their abductions. I hope that they're still alive. Secondly is, I realize that government and its agencies, parastatals, departments, are unable to reach the citizens because government is always so far away from the people. We have made the local governments redundant. And the local government ought to be the most powerful because they have the closest reach. So imagine if Ondokwa West local government area had its own police, and immediately these people were arrested by the federal police. They could do their investigations, pursue. You know, like David asked God, should I pursue? Will I overtake? Pursue and overtake. There will be dialogue between local government and federal government on why have you abducted these people? What's there? If they've committed a crime, be it civil or criminal, you go and you know take them to court, but not that you abduct people and we're now asking go and find them. You know, who does that all over the world?
Exactly. And to buttress what you're saying, you see, like Okwama, like Ndokwa, you may never get to the bottom of the truth. How is it that the police went on appeal? The court has ruled, and yet it's like all is silent on the Western Front. Ask yourself this question. You know, when you are talking about local government police, people just feel that this police thing is about federalism, let more power go. It's not just about power. It's about the question of statecraft and how you engineer the levels of authority. Now, what is the issue in Etualand? That they couldn't get to speak with traditional rulers, they couldn't get to speak with the local government chairman, they couldn't get to they just went and brought people and took them away, and since then nobody what are they doing?
Or how are they different
even if it was
from kidnappings?
Or even if it was planned, what are they really doing? Ordinary villagers who are farmers and hunters, you just go pick them up like that. And in many communities, this is happen all the time. Somebody can come and brag and say, people are talking about now, just call police and they'll carry all of you away.
And it will happen like that.
So, people since May 2022, they are taken away. The nation is not in an opera.
Nobody's looking for them.
Missing. Nobody cares about it. Why does that happen? If there was local police, maybe they would have, you know, like there would have been intelligence feeding.
Yes.
So, okay, what is happening there? What is the issue? Nobody knows what they are doing, or what they did, or what they are even accused of. They just want to took them away like that, and since then, nobody has done anything. Are we in an ungoverned country? It just speaks to lawlessness being undertaken by those who are employed to keep the law.
There was
it's an unthinkable thing.
Some political analyst, Dandy Atta, who was kidnapped in Kaduna.
Yes, Dandy Atta.
Yes, under President Buhari. The night that it was done, in fact, the morning that it was done, about 2-3 a.m., right? His wife cried out that, oh, DSS came and picked my husband, though. So everybody thought, oh, it's DSS. The next morning,
it's not been seen till today.
The next morning, DSS said, yes, we just picked him for questioning. A week down the line, DSS said, no, we are not the ones who picked him. Till today, going on 5 years, we are still asking, where is Dandy Atta?
You know, the unfortunate thing about the Etualand case is that they came at wee hours of the morning, 3 a.m., got to the place.
The regular time.
You know, invaded the community. One boy who made an attempt to run was shot down.
Wow.
Was killed instantly.
Wow.
Now, part of the people abducted, one of them used to be in the Nigerian army and had left and had fought during the ECOWAS peacekeeping in Liberia and all that, had returned to the community and was involved in training the local vigilantes. He was taken away with his son. He bore that boy in Liberia.
Wow.
Brought him to Nigeria, was taken away with his son. Now, there's a guy that was taken away with the wife. The children are left to suffer in the village. So I have, you know, this thing is so heartbroken that anywhere this case is mentioned, the whole place becomes cold. There is sober reflection. To think that the local government chairman is from my own village and have been reached out to but have not made any attempt.
What's he going to do? Go and question Nigerian police?
I expect that he should talk about it because he's in government.
Yes.
Get to the governor, get to the authorities. Is it not the governor now that is going there to have
and they told him to go back?
Yes.
So now we went to court. We went to court, got judgment against
the police.
At the court of first instance. The police appealed to the court of appeal. And the
lost.
judgment was that they should
Under
produce
why
them.
were exactly what
judge
was the
has
appeal
approached
about?
They appeal now that they were just flimsy issues. On appeal, we want them on appeal. And the court said, you know what, go and produce them wherever you took them to and pay 10 million naira each to all of them. There are 15 of them. The one shot dead is the 16th person that was killed. So we are waiting to see what else they are going to do.
You know,
But they must produce.
No, they
God,
have to.
God forbid, if they do not produce, what will be the repercussions of that?
See, the truth is that office have a continuity, the office of the IG, down to the office of the CP. The Commissioner of Police then was Muhammad Ari. He's now in Zone 2. I think he's now a DIG or something. Okay, so wherever it is, whatever it is, anywhere they take this matter to on appeal, whether in the Devil's Den, whether anywhere, we'll have our representation with them there. Because if I don't want to reveal our strategy on air, what we intend to do, but what I can promise you and the public is that we'll follow this matter to the end.
To the latter, because if you don't, you know, the Irish philosopher Edmund Burke said, it is not a nation that needs to be perpetually conquered. This method is a method of conquest.
It's conquest.
You don't know what they can go to any village, oppress people, crush people, arrest people,
and that's the end.
And you create more problems than you are providing answers to any issue.
Yes.
True.
The fact that the police cannot even come out and say we did it in the first place until they are taking
or even show them that they are here. This is the crime against them.
And they say, this is why we're looking.
And the committee is asking a simple question.
Where are they?
Show us this. The law is that when you arrest someone, you have to make sure you charge him to court within 24 hours.
Yes.
Where there's no court within the vicinity, where the court is over 40 kilometers, you can now bring that person under 48 hours. But this is going to 2 years. Next month, 22nd of next month, will make it 2 years. When we have not seen. These are not people that fell from the sky. They are people's children. They are people's fathers. And, you know, this guy I said that walking and was shot to the leg and was taken away. We did a press conference immediately. And Rise News and all other stations carried that news where we're asking that they should not even release them, but they should show us where we want to take food to them. We want to take medication to them. We want to do what we should do, our kinsmen, to preserve their lives, at least before we hear the story. Nothing has happened.
Hopefully they are still alive.
So
we hope so.
When we come back, Juro Olajumoke Alawode James wants to know whether the Naira will appreciate, given the recent arraignment and conviction on account of Naira abuse. This will be right after this short break. We'll be right back. Stay.
Middleman.
You're welcome back to the Middlemen, and we are your jurors. My case today is just to ask a simple question. Will the Naira appreciate? Now that Bob Risky has been jailed for 6 months without option of fine as a first-time offender for Naira mutilation, and we know he still has his male genitalia intact. Now that Cubana chief priest has been put on trial for the same reasons, granted a 10 million Naira bail, I hope the Naira appreciates. Nigeria's Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, is working hard for their Naira. All pun intended. This government tried to float the Naira, which quickly went to 2,000 Naira against each dollar. The government is now defending it again, and it is now 1,000 Naira to the dollar. And their party loyalists want us to appreciate the government. But they met the dollar at 700 Naira under President Buhari, and they accused us of wheeling them, and met it at 200 Naira to the dollar in the days of President Jonathan, that we accused of being clueless. Why did they float without thinking of the consequences, only to backtrack on the policy? Do they ever think their policies through? I ask because that's how the president said, subsidy is gone, in his inaugural speech, without thinking about the repercussions. Petrol went up to 600 Naira per litre and was on its way to 1,000 Naira per litre as the Naira went on a free fall against the dollar, and the government started paying subsidy again to quickly forestall the crisis. In fact, Madam El-Rufai just this week accused the present government of paying more subsidy in the last 7 months than previous governments. Who is deceiving who? A government is not run by fiat, and it's not easy to make campaign promises than a government is not run by fiat, and it's more easy to make campaign promises than it is actually to put boots on ground. It's the act of making the situation worse, retracting the policy, and as it improves the situation a little, asking us to clap for them, that makes me laugh the most. Who is going to settle people that imported goods when it was 2,000 naira to the dollar? I read a post asking us to apologize to Nuru Ribadu because since he arrested Binance officials, the dollar has gone down to 1,000 naira. Of course, posts like this are written by minions who have the difficult job of defending anything government does, no matter how ridiculous. I forget my manners when I read such. How can anyone be that naive thinking Nigerians are so dumb? Nigeria is defending the naira with all our foreign reserves, yet some are chasing after shadows. Inflation is now at 33% because throwing out all the dollars you have to make people sell theirs in panic, increasing the dollar in circulation and forcing prices down, which is really a basic economic principle, is not sustainable and won't affect the real prices of consumables. It's so obvious for the blind to see. Someone decides to politicize that and asks us to apologize to Ribadu for bringing the naira down. As Ribadu apologized to Nigerians, he's now working under a Tinubu that he once called Nigeria's most corrupt politician. Did he find evidence to nail him then? Did he apologize for wasting our time and resources? Every single consumable is now more expensive than they were last year. You are asking us to apologize to Ribadu for arresting Binance officials that still escaped from detention. Disgraceful. They may soon ask us to apologize to the EFCC for not appreciating their hard work in defending the naira. Is Nigeria a joke to you? But the joke is on them. My verdict is very simple. I once asked if Nigeria is working for you. This new government is definitely not working for anyone aside the people working in government. The naira definitely will not appreciate all these political rigmarole and distractions.
I watched the CBN governor yesterday. He was on Channels TV, and while he spoke about the naira gaining strength, he said that people should not be incited. And I stood back and wanted to hear what he was going to say again. He said because government is doing all it can from every angle to ensure the naira gain strength. So he didn't explain further.
But we know
So
more.
what it therefore means, we of course we already know now. You just say
It's clear. It's
we already
clear.
know
Very
that.
clear.
We already know that this strength of the naira is mechanical.
Yes.
It
Previous
was
governments
a
have always done
solution.
it.
It was a solution they brought to take shame away.
Yes.
You understand? But you know, when we go back to the natural propensity of things,
Yes.
economics setting,
Yes.
because the government cannot continue
With limited resources.
to be conscious of your naira, to just be conscious of the fact that your naira is dropping, that you need to do something to make it gain strength. Government cannot be a watchdog over the economy.
It's not sustainable.
The government will make sure that there's production, there's export, and that we're earning dollars. That is the natural propensity for
Yes.
which your currency can be strong.
Yes.
But if it's taking reserve and taking this one
And selling
taking
it at a cheaper rate,
and
so that you and I will sell our own at a cheaper rate also.
or just supplying it to the BDCs, BDC, right?
Yes.
Supplying it to them and then making sure that
Solutions.
everybody,
Sell
have
at
it.
a
Then you
lower
just
rate.
have overnight. You just have a surplusage of the dollar overnight. You know this quick fix. See, the
Let's
naira.
see if they can sustain
The
it for another 1
See,
year.
this is what I said. The dollar did not rise to that level overnight.
True. It was
I remember in
gradual.
2016, it was about 60 something naira. In 2016, no, 100 and something
No,
naira.
it was 197.
197.
190
100
officially.
197.
And in the black market, it used to be around 200, up to
200 and
247.
something.
Because the APC campaigned in 2015 that is the dollar good at 246.
Yes.
That was the black market rate.
So it gained this height over the years.
Under
Now
8
you want-
years, he
okay.
went to 800 naira.
Now
under
you now,
Buhari.
but you now think it is natural for it to come down to less than 1,000 naira overnight.
by bringing all your dollars.
So I don't
You
think
know,
this thing
yes.
is. I think it's a temporary tablet to ease off, maybe like an analgesic. It cannot cure the main ailment, but can give you a temporary relief. I think that's what we're
and
facing.
give you face.
Yes.
Where everybody's criticizing you for taking the naira to
I think that's where we are.
2,000.
It was like when Ronald Reagan was ruling out his policies and George Bush said this is voodoo economics. But yes, but again, to add to what both jurors have already said, I think this government likes to pay attention to things that make it look good politically.
True.
That's their aim.
They came into government via propaganda.
Yeah, so anything that makes them look good politically is what, anything that makes them look good politically. So even if it's not the real solution, even if it's not the real thing that will last in the long term, as long as it buys them temporary time, they saw it coming. So they started shouting, sell your dollars, it's going to crash. But I mean, how many sound economists are in this government? How many sound macroeconomists?
They inaugurated one.
Yesterday.
How many of them? Because the president, when he came on board, before he even had his cabinet, he said he was appointing the tax committee.
That is the one that was inaugurated.
Tax committee. He was appointing.
But they are all bust-up economists.
This is the problem because
look,
serious economists. You see, this economy, even people who are economists will tell you that there are monetarists, there are people who deal on fiscal policy.
True.
There are those who and then there's another branch they call economic management. There are those who are economists and they're into management. People like Ngojo Konjewel and so on.
Yes.
They are not fools. Economics is a very broad field.
It's broad.
So people specialize. It was like this. It's very about how Abacha wanted Anthony to be finance minister. The man said, no, look for an economist. And even when you get a core economist, have a team. Because running an economy part-time is not something that somebody should just be thinking. Now, do you see that we've reduced the discussions on the economy to just naira to dollar. So
that's all.
So the CBN governor is having a field day talking about almost every day. But in reality, even the CBN governor is only a flank. The real person that should be talking to me, we were talking about production earlier. That's the work of the person who is doing finance minister and economic minister of the economy. They'll be talking about policy. How to make power production come back. How to make power work.
Productivity
24
is
hours.
the heart of it. Productivity.
The minister of labor. They should be discussing this, but nobody talking about how to increase jobs, and overnight you say you are
they are only talking naira to dollar. Nothing.
What change?
Watch it on the road to making a dollar.
High five.
Is it that minimum wage is now
higher?
Or what happened? That's what I'm saying. You cannot just wake up.
Injury and
it just goes down by itself.
And let me tell you, none of us here knows exactly what it has cost us or this government
I can assure
to
you.
bring this propaganda
I agree with
to
you.
a level to a level of
conspiracy.
Useless equilibrium.
Conspiracy say that it has cost them $2 billion from our foreign reserve.
Yes, I know that. That's from the foreign reserve there.
$2
This
billion.
rate that has crashed, can I even ask, is it the I&E window or is the black market rate?
See what is happening there. Let me
It's
answer you.
black market.
Let me both of
It's
them.
black
No, let me just tell you what is happening. What they did to us, they used the principle of demand and supply.
Yes, now
for
basic
us.
principle
That's
of
what they
economics.
did.
Yes, now
They
now
made sure that you now have availability.
Yes.
Yes.
And availability will mean, if for example you go out, you tell your friend that
I have dollars.
I want dollars. You say, how much do you want? I have $50 million. And it's with it, and you are seeing it. And this other one have this, another. So the thing is too much. People are now running away.
You now be competition now. Everybody has to bring their price
So that's
down.
exactly what has happened. Not like we naturally.
We didn't sell anything.
Yeah, we are not.
It's not like we sold more crude
We
oil.
didn't become productive overnight.
That's what now.
Even our OPEC quota, we're not meeting.
God bless
So how
now,
do we get
now?
The extra dollar.
That's the voodoo economics now. And I wanted to say, the Nigerian government.
This people they think we are fools.
The Nigerian government.
Oh, God bless you.
The Nigerian government is now gladly using the black market. Black market rate.
Not official rate.
Which is even a criminal
endeavor.
Yes,
There is a black market rate now to win the war.
So they think that by arresting Bobrisky, who pled guilty, and arresting Cubana Chipila. A lot of us are on social media saying, "Yay, I will stop spraying money on Saturday." Oh, that we are distracted. Listen, we are not dumb. We are not distracted. We can do things to make ourselves happy and laugh, but that's not the job of government. And when you send out your political minions and loyalists to come and say, you know, things that are not feasible, the learned ones will ask questions. Maybe not today because you are in government. Eventually, like Governor El-Rufai, you will leave the office and we will ask questions. Okay? That's all today on the Middlemen of Jurors. I want to say a very big thank you to our jurors. Juror from Rabbi. Hopefully we find your people in Etualand.
Yeah.
Juror Cyril, thank you for joining us. And to our viewers, we also appreciate your time. You may subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us across all social media platforms at Enterprise TV 7, and also visit our websites at www.enterprisetvnews.com. Thank you for watching once again. We'll see you next time.
Middleman. Enterprise TV, a tradition of truth.